There it is.
Guys, guess look who's saying hi.
Hey, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you guys?
All good. You're being recording forever. Everyone will see you from now on.
Yeah, all good,
Yeah,
darling.
you'll see me. I'm here.
Yeah, you can see yourself in YouTube in the MC channel if you want later.
Oh
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
kind of.
Yeah,
Check with.
cool. Opa. Great. So we have 1 minute to go. You can see my screen. Can someone confirm that my screen is there? Someone?
What what do you want us to confirm? Because it's really,
Um,
really laggy.
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
do you see my screen?
No.
And
Now,
can you hear
yes.
me well?
But it was lag.
Fuck this shit. Okay, the thing is, I'm trying my best because this is the Wi-Fi of the office and I'm alone, so no one can share data with me. So if you stop listening to me, let me know,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
Cool. Let's go with it. So, welcome to the session of the LCP subcommittees. This is something that I already have one-to-one with every one of you. So it will be just a brief explanation of what is more in depth actually, and why this is needed and how we can make it work, okay? So it will be 10, 15 minutes. Don't worry, it won't be that long. It's just for you to understand what it is and, well, as I mentioned, everything. Okay, so as I told everyone, what is a subcommittee? A subcommittee is just a group or of 3 or 4, can be from 2 to 4 LCPs that will, let's say, work on a specific area of ISEC in France. This is not being an NST. This is not being, I mean, NST. What is the main difference? The thing is, only an LCP can have the vision of what is ISEC in France on the whole general picture of what is happening in ISEC in France. And also, only an LCP can take the decision of making a strategy and actually implementing it. So, a subcommittee of people is a group of LCPs analyzing information for ISEC in France and giving solutions and strategies for ISEC in France, not for ISEC in Strasbourg, ISEC in Rennes. Like, we need to have this national vision of what an LCP can do. So, this is a subcommittee, okay? As David already explained to you, we have the board of presidents. You are already, well, you will be when your term starts, but now we have the subcommittees. Cool. Why having subcommittees in ISEC in France is important? Because as you have known, a lot of challenges, I never say the word issues, challenge, in the past, normally are first because of miscommunication between the LCPs and the MC and the LCPs and the LCPs and the LCPs and the people like down below, if we can call it down below, because I don't believe in hierarchy. So I think it's really important that the LCPs have the voice and the power to say, hey, this is a strategy that will work in France or not. Because for me, the MC is just an entity that serves the LCPs. We are never up the LCPs. We are never up anyone. On the contrary, we are all the way down. Like, we are the ones who support everyone so you can go faster. So why having support committees in ISEC in France is important? Because we need to hear the voices of the LCPs. For me, it's the most important voice and is the one that should be respected above everyone, even above myself. So if we create these subcommittees and if we create this structure, we can actually give a space for you to talk and to be heard, okay? So subcommittees can be a great way to improve things such as, first thing is decision making, absolutely. Why? Because as you can see, there's like different paths we can take, but it's way different that an MCVP, whatever, decides to do this campaign or decides to do this whatever strategy, and then the half of the country will be like, I'm sorry, but this is not going to work on my LC. So why we're losing time in the first place to do this from the MC if the strategy is not how do you say it in English? It's not working on the local reality. So from the beginning, let's listen to the LCPs and we can take the decision together as a whole team, right? The second one is legislation. This is super important because at the end, only the LCPs can vote. And I told you on the one-to-ones, At the end, the board of presidents are the most powerful entity, if we can call it powerful, but it's also the one that should have the most responsibility because of the power you have. Not even the MC can vote, not the VPs can vote, is you. At the end, the LCPs, as I told you, are the voice of the LCs, and you are the ones who will say, hey, I want to have this motion, I want to have these things changed, I want to have these things improved. So when the LCPs are part of the subcommittees, they are part of the strategies, and therefore the legislation is done way easier and more transparent. And at the end, this is something like any organization like needs, because we need to be transparent, as I told you. The last thing, and really important, is the national alignment. If the strategies come from the LCPs, it will be way easier to downscale it because you are the ones who created or at least guided the MCVPs for us to create it. So it's way easier to say, hey, let's have, I will just put an example. Let's have last sprint, the one we're having right now. Hey, but we have test. Hey, but we have rattrapage. Hey, we have whatever. Then we can align all the nation towards one same thing and not just wait till it doesn't work. So this is super important. You understand that? Then we go, what subcommittees we have right now. The first one that we have on the left is a steering team. As I told you, the steering team is the only one that exists right now that is run by AESEC in UDP, AESEC in Rennes, AESEC in Lille. Those three LCPs have several meetings in order to decide what the whole AESEC in France is doing. But for the next term, your term, we will have actually 4 subcommittees. The first one is the marketing, legislation, membership, and then a steering team. Why marketing, legislation, and membership are on a square? Because at the end, all of them, let's say they work for the steering team. So the steering team is the one that actually takes the whole synergies and the whole decisions for AESEC in France. Like, they don't take it alone, of course, like we work of the LCPs and the MC, but they give the most outputs on the whole nation should go. So that's why they're steering, you know? So, but they are all 4 of them are as equally as important. And at the end, what I will ask you is you to join one of them, the one you feel like you can make the most impact, or the one to actually you want to learn. And for example, on my case, when I was LCP, I joined a subcommittee, don't even knowing what the hell I was going to do. And at the end, I learned a lot. There is a subcommittee of conferences in Mexico. For the moment, we decided not to open conferences, but I was part of that, and I learned a lot of logistics, about OCs, about bidding, about a lot of things. So if you feel like, hey, I study economics, so I am studying politics, whatever, but I want to learn about marketing, well, you can join the marketing. Or you are an expert in marketing, well, join the marketing, you know? Or you want to be the ones that really see the huge picture of AESEC in France, well, join the steering team, okay? So I will go now just briefly explaining what of them they do, so you can have an idea, and then you can choose which one you want to go, okay? My voice is okay so far? It's not robotic?
No,
Yeah, it's
good.
perfect.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. So you can have here, if you want to read on your own, I will just be quickly reading. The marketing one is in the charge of analyzing the strategies and direction of marketing, working on hand with the MCVP marketing. That's it. So for example, the MCVP marketing will co-create with you if you want the strategy, and then we'll ask you for feedback and guidance. This is for me truly important, because if we really want to become AESEC à la Française, we need to have this person of marketing understanding what is à la Française, and who better than the LCPs that actually have lived here or are studying students here. So it's not that you will just give all your time to create a strategy. Of course, that's the role of the MCVP marketing, but you will be guidance and feedback. And then at the end, we can co-create something better together. So for example, if you were VP marketing, if you were member marketing, and you want to continue having this marketing flow while being LCP, you can join the marketing subcommittee. Cool. It also includes communications and public relationships, okay? The legislation one is a super important one, because they will be the one that follow up the parliamentary procedures, the congruence of legislative motions, and also checking that these motions are well written or delivered before each legislative session. I'm sorry. At the end, also, this team will be in charge to work with the MCVP finances to update the compendium after each thing happens. Why this is important? Transparency, that's the word. If we have voting, and then the MC is the one that is in charge of updating the compendium, I mean, of course you can trust us, but maybe we can have mistakes. why not? Maybe we can even do something that is not correct. I'm not saying like, I mean, we won't do it, but I think it gives more transparency and honesty. Is a team of 3 LCPs that is actually doing this. Now, if these LCPs are French speaker, even better, because So I think gives more transparency and more access to all the LCPs to say like, hey, is an LCP working for this? So it's way better. So there's no nothing that is happening on the background. So at the end, the legislation team 1 is the one that updates compendium after each legislation, has the tracking of the legislation motions before the legislation, and also proposes updates to the compendium. For example, let's say one day we change, I don't know, reload to, I don't know, baguette, whatever. They will say like, hey, we need to change this word on the whole compendium, so they will be the ones in charge of changing this. So what is like, I mean, being honest, for me, it's really interesting because you can really get to know how an association in France works and how the compendium is updated and the process is done. So if you want to learn about a little bit about legalities, a little bit about, uh, you know, yeah, this kind of bureaucratic processes, you can join, and it's really good because you have the whole, let's say, background to really understand this kind of processes. So it's really good and it's really needed. Check. The next one is the membership criteria. The membership criteria is in titre 4 de secrétaire de membre on the National Compendium. We have 7 criteria, as you know, or you will know in your transition. You need to fill up the zona. You need to have a minimum of exchanges. You need to go to the LCP needs to go to the conferences, or at least send a proxy. So all these membership criteria. Once again, if the MC of the MCBP OD manages all this, it gives less credibility. But what happens if actually the LCPs are checking that all the LCs are having this compendium, this membership criteria? What is membership criteria? That you become full member and that you can vote. And as you can note, voting is truly important because, for example, on the last, 2 legislations back, when they legislated the new price, half of the LCPs weren't able to vote. So imagine if they were able to vote, maybe it would have been different. I don't know. So having both is one of the most important things. For you to have both, you need to work for it. You need to have exchanges. You need to have minimums. So if the LCPs are the one tracking this and also giving strategies on how other LCPs, other LCs can improve or can achieve these criteria, it's even better because you understand the reality. So an LCP saying, hey, I say in whatever, I say in Marseille, I say in UDP, hey, you're not doing this because of this, but my proposal for you is to do this so you can get that criteria. It's even better. It's more transparent. And at the end, we have the steering team. So the steering team is the responsibility of innovation and searching, streamlining processes through legislation and outside legislation that increases the capacity and performance of the organizations. Let's say this is a little bit more complex because this is giving guidance and creating strategies for the whole nation. So actually, the steering team in the whole ISEC in the world is one of the roles the most searched by the LCPs because you can have access to the whole information of all the LCs. I mean, you can do it anytime. Of course, it's open, but you actively do research on how we can improve ISEC in France in everything. So this is a little bit more challenging, but it's also really fun and really exciting to get to know how this works. So just to close this up, marketing works with MCBP marketing, legislation, MCBP finance, membership will work with MCBP OD, and steering team works with me. Normally, the steering team is the ones that have summits of a steering team because we can decide, like, get guidance for our ISEC in France. So before changing on this, do you have any questions on what these 4 committees do?
That's okay.
No, all good for me.
Check. Merci. So let's move on into how much time I need to invest on being part of a subcommittee. Of course, this is a really important question. For example, when I was in the subcommittee, before and after a conference, on those 2 weeks, normally you need to give like 5 hours. For example, let's say you are part of the legislation. Well, you need to prepare the whole legislation of that conference. If you are marketing, you need to prepare the strategies because the MCB marketing will downscale. If you are steering team, we need to have meetings before the Congress and after so we can digest what happened. And if you are membership criteria, probably a little bit more because you need to update the whole LCs on what criteria they have. So you need to be looking after the LCPs, updating the tracker and everything. So just in conference time, it's around 5 hours before and 5 hours after. In not in conference time, I don't think you need more than an hour. Like anything you are, probably you will have one meeting with the MCVP marketing, one meeting with your MC responsible, maybe 30 minutes a week meeting to check the strategies, give feedback, and that's it. So honestly, it's not that huge investment. I fully understand, of course, that the studies are the priority and you need to study a lot, and I respect it. But it's not that much taking. It's not a full JD. It's not a full consuming. It's just giving feedback and working with the MC, co-creating things. So that's how much time you need to invest as part of committee. Now it comes with a lot of benefits because you are the first ones to know the strategy. You are the first ones to get to know what is happening on the national level, and you can guide your LC towards aligning into what the other LCs are doing. So this is a really, really interesting thing to apply. So I just want you to remember this quickly. I will work my ass off for this culture to strive and go further because I really fell in love while we created Reload. You remember passionnaire, révolutionnaire, diversifié, ouais, c'est qu'à la française. And I think the subcommittees is really, really a good example of diversifié. Like I really truly believe that we need different voices. We need ISEC in Rennes, we need ISEC in Toulouse, we need ISEC in Lyon because you're here, ISEC in UDP. I don't know who else joined. All of them, ULCPs are the voices that need to be heard the most of all, most even than the MC. So for us having this diversity of voices that are heard for the MC and are heard through the nation is working us together with the same vision. So for me, the subcommittees is a really important thing that needs to happen. It was already happening in all the rest of the world. It's just in France, it was not correctly implemented. Once again, this is my approach for ULCPs. This is my invitation for you to stand up and say, hey, I want to speak regarding my committee. I want to speak for ISEC in France. But as I told you in my one-to-one, this is my proposal. If at the end I launch the application and no one goes for it, well, that means in ISEC in France doesn't want to, or I don't know. I really will ask you to go for it and help me to create these subcommittees because it's super important. Because at the end, sometimes it's like, okay, this is not working, cool, so let's work together, but if we have a subcommittee, now it's structured and now we can make it happen. So for me, it's really important for this to go. So how can I become a subcommittee? It's super quick. I will just launch the next Friday the applications. Now, what are the applications? Don't believe you need to do a whole package. No. I will just release a Google form and I will put which one of the subcommittees you want to be part of. You will just select like my first option, my second option, my third option, the ones I like the most, or I feel more interested. And I will just choose like your first priority. If it's still spots, it will be teams of 3 or maximum 4. I will hope that all the LCPs get engaged in this because if we have 4 teams of 4, well, that's great. So we can listen all of you guys. Most probably there will be a chair, like a leader of each group, so I can directly communicate with this person. So I will put there, do you would like to be the leader or not? So it will be teams of 4 with 1 leader. Now, if only I have 1 applicant for 1, well, he will do it or she will do it, but not that intense, just a little bit. So how can you become? Just you will receive the questionnaire, the form in your email. And that's it. That's all you need to click. Don't worry, it's not that much. I mean, you don't need to be an expert on anything. You will learn and you will help us to improve. So apply, please. And that's it for my session. It's just to you to understand the importance. I think at the end, the importance of this is just the transparency. I need you guys. I need you. As I told you, I will do my best for ISEC in France. I'm not French, but I really want to give my heart for you. I need your help. I need these subcommittees to work, and I need the LCPs to be onboarded, and above all, to be heard by everyone. Your voices are the most important of ISEC in France, for real. So at the end, I just want to know if you have any questions, something you would like to add before finishing the session.
I'm good for me.
Any
Nope.
questions, any comments, any feedback?
No, it's good for me.
No.
What do you think about? Do you think it's useful? Do you think it will
Nope.
help
No,
ISEC in
nothing for
France?
me.
It's super useful for me.
Yeah.
Ouais, ça va être trop bien, je le sens.
No. Yeah, I think it's useful. especially for the MC.
Super. Okay, guys. So I will be sending you. Perfect. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for being here. I know it's a little bit late, so you can all go and dinner and eat and whatever, sleep. Thank you so much for that. I will be waiting your applications, I hope, and see you on the next. If there's something I can help you on transition, reach me anytime. Okay.
Yeah. See
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Love
Ciao.
you.
Okay, thank you very much.